August 15th, 2021. The capital of Afghanistan falls in a single day. No siege, no battle for the city, the government just collapses, and the president is gone before nightfall. Within hours, thousands of people are running onto the tarmac of Hamid Karzai International Airport, trying to get on anything that can fly them out. Some climb onto the wheels and fuselage of a departing US military aircraft as it starts to move. 11 days later, at one gate of that same airport, an attack kills 13 American service members and more than 170 Afghan civilians. This is the story of the last 20 days of America's longest war. The US invades Afghanistan in October 2001, weeks after 9/11, to remove the Taliban government sheltering Al-Qaeda. What follows is 2 decades of war, nation building, and an Afghan security force, built and funded by the United States and its allies. In February 2020, the US signs an agreement with the Taliban setting terms for a full American withdrawal. In April 2021, the sitting administration sets a final deadline. All US forces out by the 20th anniversary of 9/11. What almost nobody predicts, including America's own intelligence assessments at the time, is how fast it actually happens. Through the summer of 2021, Taliban forces move across the country far faster than expected, and Afghan government forces, despite years of American training and equipment, largely don't fight. City after city falls with little to no resistance. By August 15th, it's Kabul's turn, and the US military, alongside NATO allies, is now running 2 missions at once inside the same perimeter, securing an active airfield and evacuating as many people as physically possible before the withdrawal deadline. Thousands of Afghans converge on the airport every single day. American citizens, green card holders, interpreters who worked directly with US forces, and their families, all trying to reach the gates before time runs out. Over the following 2 weeks, US and allied forces evacuate more than 120,000 people. It becomes one of the largest airlifts in modern military history, run entirely under the threat of attack, with thousands of people pressed against the fences at all times. But the airport has multiple gates, and every one of them is a choke point, a dense, unscreened crowd with a hard deadline bearing down on everyone inside the wire. August 26, 2021, 5 days before the final withdrawal deadline. At Abbey Gate, one of the main entry points, manned by US Marines screening people trying to reach the airfield, a suicide bomber detonates an explosive vest in the middle of the crowd. 13 American service members are killed, 11 Marines, 1 Navy corpsman, 1 Army soldier, dozens more are wounded. At least 170 Afghan civilians, people who had come to that gate hoping for a way out, die in the same attack. It becomes the deadliest single day for US forces in Afghanistan in a decade. A later Central Command investigation concludes the bomber acted alone and that the attack, given the conditions at the gate that day, was not preventable, a finding that has itself been publicly contested by some of the family members of those killed. In the days that follow, the US launches strikes against suspected ISIS-K targets. One of them, on August 29th, is later acknowledged by the Pentagon to have killed 10 Afghan civilians, including 7 children, in a case of mistaken identity. Despite the attack, the evacuation continues. Flights keep flying in and out for more days. On August 30th, the last US military aircraft leaves Afghan airspace, a C-17, departing just before midnight, officially ending America's 20-year military presence in the country. Not everyone who wanted out made it onto that airlift. Thousands of Afghans who had worked with US forces, and some American citizens, remained in the country after the final flight departed. The debate over how this withdrawal was handled is still very much alive. Critics argue the pace and coordination of the pullout created exactly the kind of chaos and vulnerability that ISIS-K exploited at Abbey Gate. Others argue that 20 years in, no version of leaving Afghanistan was ever going to be clean, and that the alternative, staying indefinitely, carried its own cost. That argument isn't settled, and this video isn't the place to settle it for you. What isn't in dispute is what happened at that gate, and the 20 years that led up to it. 13 American families and hundreds of Afghan families lost someone on the last days of a war that started with an entirely different generation of American service members, 20 years earlier. If you want more real sourced military history like this, no spin, no easy answers, hit subscribe, because that's exactly what this channel is built on. This is Urban SitRep. for the ones who move in silence.